What's happening? Landlord from Alabama here, back with another video. And today, man, we finna talk about your running back, Zeke Elliott. Will this be his last year in Dallas? And for me to understand exactly where I stand in this equation, I have to look at Zeke's career as a whole. What has he accomplished? Has he fallen short for anything? All of his shortcomings and his accomplishments. We're gonna put it all together and see where we end up at the end of the video. Okay, the 4th overall pick in 2016, which is super high for a running back these days, but he is a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, led the NFL in rushing in 2016 and 2018. Since 2016, nobody has more rushing yards than Mr. Zeke Elliott. That's a mic drop. That's enough to make all of the haters and the doubters and the naysayers go take a seat in the corner. Yeah, he's that kind of guy, man. He's been very productive in his career. Out of 1,650 attempts, he had 7,386 yards rushing, with 56 touchdowns and a little over 83 yards per game, with an average of 4.5 yards a carry, 83.9 yards a game, and 56 rushing touchdowns. Those 56 rushing touchdowns leaves him only second to Derrick Henry with 65. To be honest, Derrick Henry is the only back that's really even close to Zeke in a lot of these categories. When it comes to receiving, Zeke has 2,244 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 288 receptions. That's enough to earn him 4th in receiving behind David Johnson slightly, of course Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. Those are the most versatile backs that we done seen in the NFL in the last few years. So I think it's safe to say that rushing is one of Zeke's more underrated skills and attributes, man. He's a very good receiver out the backfield. When it comes to blocking, we know that Zeke is laying the hat. He's basically an extension of the offensive line. He never ever shies away from contact. He always willing to put his body on the line for young Ryan Dakota. I think it's safe to say it's pretty unanimous when it comes to blocking and complete backs in the NFL. It's not many of them you'll take over Zeke. Let me know in the comments if you got a couple backs that you like better than Zeke in these categories, or is Zeke your #1 guy? But in my opinion, I think Zeke is obviously one of the more complete backs in the NFL. He's been pretty consistent and he's more reliable than a lot of these backs. He rarely misses games. He's been healthy for the majority of his career outside of some off the field issues that never came back up again. So Zeke is one of the more quality complete backs in the NFL by far. Now, we've been singing his praises. Now it's time to get into a few of his cons. It's safe to say that Zeke Elliott production has been taking a few steps back. And I don't know if it's due to the offensive line or who's to blame, but his production has taken a small step back. In 2018, he had 1,400 yards. In 2019, he had 1,357. But in a miserable year for the whole team in 2020, it was a debacle. He only had 979 yards rushing. Then followed that up in 2021 on a pretty good team with just a little over 1,000 yards rushing. Even his yards per carry went down from a peak 4.5 in 2018 all the way down to a 4-yard per carry average in 2020. But he got slightly better in 2021 with 4.2. One of the stats that really surprised me, I didn't know this, Zeke leads the NFL since 2016 in fumbles with 22. That's a lot of fumbles. That sounds crazy to me. I don't really view Zeke as a fumbling running back. He's pretty secure in my opinion, even though the stats say different. I don't remember us losing that many. Maybe we kept possession of most of those fumbles that we got on paper. You could take that with a grain of salt, because the great Tony Dorsett, he leads the NFL all time in fumbles with 90. And you don't really hear about that when it comes to running backs. When they great, you don't really hear about fumbles. So Zeke has maintained a decent level of greatness to where the fumble shouldn't be that big of a problem. Now, he is getting up in age. Now, the truth is, you know, the shelf life for a running back is like a banana. They don't last long and they get old real quick. But going into the 2022 year, Zeke will be 27. And that's a little old for the running back position, man. It's some turnover in the running back position. That's just the way it is these days in the NFL. But when you take into account the type of money he's making and the drop in production, he got a 6-year, $90 million contract with $50 million guaranteed. That's a whole lot of money for a running back these days. And then you take it to the account that he held out on us. You know, he didn't come to camp. He basically made Jerry tap out. He tapped him out into submission. He played chicken when it came to the negotiations and made Jerry go ahead and sign him up. Then the off the field issues, even though it was years ago, I don't really even put this on his resume as a blemish. I think that Zeke is a much more mature leader and a force to be reckoned with in his locker room. I believe he is one of those guys. He should be a captain year in and year out. Zeke is a model professional from what I've seen, especially compared to how he was when he first came in 2016. Overall, I think the big question is his best days ahead of him or behind him? Is he going to continue to demand the type of money and deserve the type of money that he's getting paid? If you don't know the answer to those questions, I believe, you know, we might be in the market for another running back. I love Zeke. I love everything he stands for. I feel like he's one of the better backs in the league, bar none, without question. But in this point in time, as an organization, spending so much money at the running back position and not getting outstanding, tremendous, Super Saiyan type level of production is probably not in your team's best interest. But I'm pretty sure that Stephen Jones is looking into investing that money in another place on his team for the Dallas Cowboys. But with that being said, that's all I got for you today, man. Just holla at your boy, Landlord from Alabama, with the same handle on all social media. And like I say, 1K, 1 love, Cowboys Nation. Let's go.